Judging by the thickness of the bones and the huge size of the skeleton, T-Rex should have weighed at least 6 or 7 tons. If that's the case, this heavyweight could not have been the speedy predator we've seen in so many movies. Instead of being the king of the prehistoric jungle, like the modern lion, it would have been a scavenger of dead carcasses, like a hyena. Dino Lab is going to examine this dinosaur in an entirely new way to find out once and for all how fast T-Rex could run.
Up the treadmill, come on.
Was it the fleet-footed predator of our imagination, or just a big, dumb scavenger of leftovers? Using a specially designed king-size treadmill, John and his team will clinically measure if the Roadrunner from Hell deserves its nickname.
Really slow at first. Really slow. 5 kilometers. Right. 5's okay.
So how fast was this guy, do you think?
Well, that's the tricky question, because a lot of the estimates of, let's say, mass or speed are really based on the same kinds of values, like the circumference of the femur, for instance. And so it becomes a circular argument if we start trying to talk about the two together. So we have to find a way to tease them apart, and which has been the topic of research for many decades.
The biggest land animals today, the elephants, weigh up to 5 tons and also have huge leg muscles, but they can only reach speeds of 10 to 15 miles per hour.
Okay, yeah, faster.
Some of the important reasons for wanting to know how fast, let's say, a Tyrannosaurus rex could run have implications far beyond just physiology. If we think of some modern reptiles today, they can really go at high speeds, but only for a very short, sustained period of time. If things like a Tyrannosaurus rex could run at high speed and at sustained rates, this gives us a window into how much food these kinds of animals would require. The difference is an order of magnitude. If it were cold-blooded with capabilities of doing short, fast burst speeds, it would, let's say, eat X number of pounds of meat per day. If it were highly endothermic, so warm-blooded, and doing the same thing, it would be 10x the amount of meat per day, which is, if we do the math up now, from how many pounds of meat a T-Rex would have to eat, if it were cold-blooded versus warm-blooded, is we're approaching eating an elephant a day.
Okay. Yeah.
If T-Rex needed to eat several tons of fresh meat every day, speed and endurance would have meant the difference between life or death.
15.
4 to 5 tons per day is a lot of meat. So the question we need to answer is, how could such a huge and heavy predator be so successful at running down its prey? It turns out that the T-Rex may have had a hidden advantage, one that paleontologists only recently discovered. By taking a much closer look at the T-Rex skeleton, scientists found that its bones are not solid, but riddled with holes. This type of bone structure is common in birds, which need to be light to fly, but totally surprising in a gigantic predator that needs to be strong to fight. And it makes a huge difference to how experts calculate the weight of T-Rex.
They used to grossly overestimate T-Rex, taking into consideration the fact that there was a lot of pneumaticity, a lot of hollow bones in the anterior skeleton, maybe not in the tail. Do you think those are still overestimates?
A lot of the estimates that we do for things like T-Rex are based on solid bones. Certainly you're right in taking out some of that mass by saying that there's air inside them. Right. I think that we could even go further and maybe take off 40% approximately in terms of total mass, not because of just air filling in many of the bones of the body, but also air fills in a lot of the body cavity.
So then if we drop down into the 3-ton range or so for a full adult T-Rex, what do you think the speed would have been?
If we were to drop the mass down to something more realistic, realistic along the theropod to bird evolution side, that we can probably, with confidence, say that they could run upwards of 25 miles per hour, no problem, and maybe even more. Some of the things that we have to take into account, that have yet to be taken into account in terms of how fast a T-Rex could run, are beyond computer models right now. Things like shock absorption, how much energy is stored within inside tendons or springs inside the body. If we look at the tails of T-Rex, they're very long. Half the length of the T-Rex is in the tail. The tail is also very stiff, with lots of muscles and tendons sheathing the outside of the tail, making it essentially a balancing organ. Now, if you put this thing on a treadmill and we watch how it runs, I would bet a lot of money that the tail is actually acting not only as a balancing organ, but as some kind of a force spring storage.
Very few other dinosaurs could have outrun T-Rex at this speed.
25. Watch out! Getting up! He did 25.
New discoveries show that the combination of a lighter body, along with a rigid tail that stores energy with every stride and then releases that energy like a spring, enabled T-Rex to run much faster than we previously thought. If T-Rex could run fast enough to catch any other dinosaur that had the misfortune to cross his path, what defensive mechanisms and survival strategies did other dinos use to protect themselves from those flesh-ripping teeth?